Now here's a quick recap. We've tried scanner outputs and built evidence packets. Now we'll decide when to validate a vulnerability with an exploit and how to do that safely inside a VM snapshot. And again, here's a reminder, never exploit production systems without explicit written permission. So not every finding should be exploited. Prioritize findings that are high impact and exposed, have reliable public POCs or modules, and can be validated non-destructively or on a snapshot. If it's destructive or the only copy of the target exists, don't exploit it. Get permission and a rollback plan. Many exploit modules include a check command to non-intrusively test whether a target is likely vulnerable or not, and always run check before you exploit because it reduces the risk and gives you evidence to justify an exploit attempt. Here, as you can see, I'm opening the Metasploit using the sudo msf console command, and then I'm searching for the module of vsftpd, and I'm going to use the exploit unix ftp with the version, and this is going to be an exploit of backdoor. Then I'm going to write show options as a command which will show me some options that I can set or assign to the metasploitable options that is being shown in vsftpd. So here you can see our hosts, which means the target IP address. Then we can see our port, again the target port, and then lhost, which is our Kali Linux system's listening host or IP address. Then we can command check. If check returns vulnerable or appears, you have strong evidence to continue in the lab. If it returns safe or unknown, do not run a noisy exploit on production. Let's understand some safe validation techniques. Safe validation methods in a lab: we can run check if available. We can use bean payloads or a POC that writes a harmless file rather than a full shell. We can use a VM snapshot and rollback after testing. And last but not the least, prefer credentialed, non-destructive verification whenever possible. So in this lab example, I used a command payload that writes a tiny file in the temp directory. After running the exploit, I verify the file exists and contains the expected string. That's our non-destructive proof. And immediately afterwards, roll back the VM snapshot to remove any traces. And if your module does not support binning payloads, do not run the exploit on shared or production systems. Instead, what you can do is capture the check output and recommend the remediation suggestions. Coming to our next section about when not to exploit. Do not exploit when the target is production without written permission, the exploit is known to crash services or cause data loss, or there is no snapshot or rollback plan at all. And if in doubt, escalate to your client or supervisor. Now, what about documenting the validation? Record the module name and the version, the check output, all options that you have used, the payload used, captured evidences that can include some screenshots, log, or the command outputs, and the rollback action that you have performed. And include the recommended remediation steps like patching, configuration changes, or access controls. And along with that, you can also show a validation log, which can include the finding ID, the module that you have used, the check output, the payload or the commands that you have used in order to achieve that exploitation, the evidence files that you have stored in your directories, rollback performed, and you can also suggest the remediation suggestions. So before we wrap up, here's an exercise for you. Choose one validated finding from your evidence packets, find a matching MSF module for it, run check, and if it's safe, create a non-destructive POC that writes a tiny file in the temp directory and capture the evidence. Then roll back the VM snapshot. Save the validation log in your repo, the lab, or the validation directory and push it to your GitHub. And that's it for our exploit selection and safe validation for today. In the next module, we'll cover post-exploitation and persistence, where we responsibly show persistent techniques and how defenders detect them. If you like this series, like and subscribe my channel and check the description for the commands in the lab repo. I'm Raed Ahsan. See you in the next one.